there, Susan, if you sign there, all three of them.
Sign right here? Okay. Down here?
Where do I sign?
Up here.
Same thing, same place.
Yes.
Yeah,
did I not?
I didn't get this one. Yeah, he just passed away, didn't he?
How did he die?
He was a farmer.
That's all right.
Yeah.
And it messed him up really bad. He never did really recover from that.
I can't be as true blue as you.
Wow.
Oh, I enjoyed that BYU game, that last football game. They looked pretty darn good.
Can I get you to sign
Oh
these?
my gosh.
All three of them right here.
Wow. I'd probably furnish my own pants, and I'll be happy.
How are you doing?
Great, Susan. How are you?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
So sign them all right.
Oh, warm heart then, right?
Well, they're warm in the summer and cold in the rest of the year.
After this meeting, I will only be here for 3 more council meetings. One in
Right
November,
here?
2 in
Your
December.
spot, same place.
Countdown is on.
Wow. After 10 plus years.
Yeah, well, in January it'll be 10 years. I was appointed in January.
Oh, is that right? Okay, I can't remember when, but it'll be 10 years.
Yeah, to finish around the last
That's
2
right.
years.
That's right.
Wow.
It's January.
That's still pretty good compared to.
How do you feel? Are you feeling ready?
Well, I'm ready to move on.
But you're still in the sewer board and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That is great.
Luann was going through some things.
I certainly will. Oh, yes.
Forgot how little they were. That's great. Thank you.
There is the cream.
Should I pass it on?
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Good kid. Good
Thank
kid.
you.
Yes, you do.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
There you go.
Oh, that's okay. There's still time. If you, oh, yeah. This will work. But if you haven't, look over and see if you're on. So you
Because
don't.
I do.
Just have a system I can plug into where they give me, kind of clues as to what would be real smart to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and get started with our City Council meeting this evening. We appreciate all of you in attendance. To begin tonight's meeting, we will have an opening that will be provided by Councilmember Mark Johnson, after which I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our beloved and eternal Father in heaven, we're thankful for our community and grateful for the good people who live here and serve and do so many good things. We're grateful for the freedoms we enjoy in our country and grateful for all the blessings that Thou dost give us. We pray this evening that we may be successful in these agenda items that are before us, that we may be successful in doing the best things and right things for our community. And we pray for our city employees and staff that they may ever be successful in their labors and safe as well. And we say these things gratefully in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started on tonight's agenda, we'll begin with brief introductions. My name is Steve Hyatt. I serve as the mayor of Kaysville City.
Chris Snell, member of the City Council.
Susan Lee, City Council.
Mark Johnson, City Council.
Ron Stevens, City Council.
Brett Garlick, City Council.
John Thacker, City Manager.
Linda Ross, City Recorder.
Andy Thompson, Engineer.
Lyle Gibson, Zoning Administrator.
Thank you very much. We do have agendas available on the wall over here to your left. You're more than welcome to grab one and check off as we move through tonight's agenda. The next item on our agenda is Volunteer of the Month recognition. Time to turn the time over to Brett Garlick, Council Member over Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
We'd like to give congratulations to Tammy Worston for being recognized as the Volunteer of the Month for October. Tammy was instrumental in bringing the pickleball open gym program to the Kaysville Rec Center. She recruits players in the mornings at the indoor courts at the Rec Center and even helps instruct beginners. She also participates in competitive tournaments throughout the state. Her volunteer efforts in organizing email lists to players, assisting in collecting court fees, and making sure players are matched up evenly is not always an easy task, but she is always positive. Tammy and her husband have lived in Kaysville for the last 10 years. They have 5 children, all married, with 13 grandchildren. They are experienced tennis players and discovered pickleball about 7 or 8 years ago. She says, "We absolutely love the sport, but think it's addictive and love to share it with anyone interested. I have been accused of having a testimony of pickleball, which I do," she said. Because pickleball is such a social sport, Tammy says they now have friends from Logan to St. George. Her goal is to have 8 outdoor pickleball courts in Kaysville for all to enjoy. "We would love to have tournaments here that could include pickleball fans from all over the country to our city," she added. She is grateful to Chris Wiley and Vance Garfield for the opportunity to give the sport a try here in Kaysville. So I'd like to welcome Tammy Worston up and ask you all to give her a round of applause.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Councilmember Garlick. Next item on our agenda is Wilderness Park Campground recognition. We'll turn the time to our Parks and Recreation Department.
Hi, my name is Justin Brimhall. I serve as the Parks Foreman for the Kaysville Parks and Recreation. And we're here tonight to recognize some fine individuals where we've created some campsites in our wilderness park. So I've created a little bit of a slideshow, little presentation regarding East Mountain Wilderness Park. I'll just give kind of a little brief summary on the park and what we've done there. So for those that aren't aware, the park sits above Highway 89 if you go straight up 200 north, and it's up by the Davis County Public Works and the dog pound and the animal control center up there. So it's 140 acres. You can go to the next slide. So it has a combination of trails and campgrounds and various other activities up there. It used to have an exercise station that was around the park, and the next slide he's going to get to is a news article that Vance had given me a while back. And in that news article, it talks about Wilderness Park being the best kept secret in Kaysville and in Davis County. And we just thought it was odd, see that, and now how it is, to see how important the park is and how active it is. I've taken my family up there and camped, and that place comes alive at night, during the day, in the mornings. So there's a lot going on, and it's not much of a secret anymore. And we can attribute that to a lot of our Eagle Scout projects that have helped enhance the park. So go to the next slide. So the park consists of 140 acres, and we've got a 2.25 mile loop trail which loops through the whole park, and it has intermediate, beginner, and some expert, more difficult trails. So you get a little bit of variety, and then it also connects to the Shoreline Trail. And we thank Biker's Edge for that. They came to us a few years ago and asked if they could connect them, because they were just kind of like little game trails all over, and they actually came in, built some obstacle courses, and connected that trail together. So that's been an awesome feature to the park. And then we now have 3 official campsites. There's always been camping there, but it was mostly just scout groups, and it became more of a need. So we decided, let's create three permanent campsites, and we had some Eagle projects where Eagle Scouts came through and cemented in, and you'll be able to see here in a minute. But we have a parking lot. We lighted it. We had the power department run some power up there, put some poles, so that's lit now, so it's more safe when you park your cars and stuff. And then we had some restrooms put in with water, so they're flushable, and that's been an awesome enhancement there. And it also provides drinking water for horses and for the users using the park. In 2015, so far, we've had 81 reservations for the campsites. So, and those groups, varied from 5 to 15 people. There was a lot of scout groups that came through us there. So, it's just awesome that we have that you can take, your family, if you're not a big camper and can't make it too far, you could up the street, you got you a spot. So, and then it also has an orienteering course that the scouts use. So, here's a picture of just the parking lot, and you can see the restroom down there, and it's lit. There's a restroom, and then that drinking fountain, actually, Ron Stevens and his family donated that and built that up, and that's an awesome drinking fountain, and it blends right in and matches everything, and it just ties it all together. So we thank the Stevens family for that. That map's, it's small, but if you can see down in the bottom is the parking lot, and then you can see the loop trail a little better. So you got the parking lot here, and then the trail, I can't even see it, but it kind of follows this, and then it comes up and up through here, and then down, and it comes down and loops this whole thing. But we have a campsite there. That's the Howard campsite, and then the Roundy campsite, and then the Johnson campsite. So, and that brings us to why we're here, to mention those. And these campsites are all reservable online, just at KaysvilleParksandRec.com. You just go through there, and it kind of takes you through about 6 steps. But as you can see here, you just click on the day you want and hit reserve, and it's all free. There's no charge. We just like to know who's going to be in there, and so when people show up, they can say, yeah, we've had it reserved, and we post that up in our bulletin up there. So you can go to the next slide. So that brings us to our first site down the road. We created these markers there. So the first one is after Britt Howard. He was the mayor from 1990 to 94, and so his campsite's the first one as you come down the road. Then that's kind of the trail back in there. You go to the next one, and then you can see we took these picnic tables. They were actually from the old pavilion out here. We were just getting rid of them, so we thought, well, let's take them up there and make good use of them. So they're cemented in with a chain, and then the camp ring here, that's the same cemented in. They'll fold up. They can be cleaned out. And then we had an Eagles project. They created like flat tent pads, and there's one back there. So you can fit quite a few tents in these spots. So we can go to the next one. The next one is Roundy Campsite, and it sits down kind of in a bowl. And this one's named after Mayor Nika Roundy. It sits down. This is kind of a big bowl just as you come down the road, and it's a really nice spot. I've stayed in it. It's got a spot back there and then back behind this tree, and so you can get out of the sun. It's a really nice spot. And go to the next one, the Johnson Campsite after Mayor Art Johnson, and his is the furthest one down. It's about a mile in the park, so that kind of gives you an idea how big the place is. So, and you kind of go down the path here, and then it opens up back in there, and there's a couple spots for tents back in here, and then across the trail. So. We're thrilled to have it. We're thrilled to have these people here tonight, and we're thrilled that they're accepting of this honor. And so from here, I'll turn it over to Vance, and he can talk a little bit about that. Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
It is truly an honor to have this park and be here tonight. It is an incredible gem in the city's resources to provide for citizens, residents, friends, and neighbors. It's a precious piece of property, and I'm so glad that we came up with the idea of honoring our past mayors. And so we picked 3, and we hope to have more campsites, 140 acres, so there's more room. But we wanted to start off with these 3. So I'm going to first, in alphabetical order, that's the way I work, I'm going to call up Don and Jerry, parents of Britt Howard. I've known these 2. No, yeah. Take the limelight. I don't like it. Okay. I've known these 2 good people since I've been here. Don being the fire chief when I got here. Brett passed away just recently, and he was a good man, and I'll miss him. He served 9 years as a Kaysville JC. 1.5 years on the Planning Commission, 9 years on City Council, and 4 years as our mayor from 1990 to 1994. 2 things I remember about him. If you are acquainted with the commercial on television, Craig Swap says, "One call, that's all." Whenever he does that, it's Brett Howard, because one time I was with him, and we didn't have cell phones, but a phone rang, and he said, "Vance, that's $200 to $300 for me." I go, "On a phone call?" I didn't know that he was a real estate appraiser. So anytime I see Craig Swap saying, "One call, that's all," I remember Brett. I remember when before he ran for office, he came and talked to all the department heads and just wanted to get a take on the city and our take on it. And he was just a genuine, kind person. I just really appreciated him. And so, Cole, we have a certificate, and we can have the council come down. Yeah, take pictures. Don, hold that. Cole, take a picture. Evelyn, come on up. Come on up. We were going to set up all the chairs because of your family. I am shocked at how few. But anyway. Yeah. Okay. Art Johnson was just the neatest guy. I recall that I had this lady in the cemetery that I could not convince, whatever topic that we were on dealing with the grave of her daughter and her headstone, I could not say anything right. I couldn't look right. I couldn't stand right. And so finally she got satisfaction. She called Art Johnson our mayor. And I found out afterwards when he called me, he says, hey, I'd like you to come up and meet with me, and I won't mention her name, so-and-so. I didn't know that she had told him, I don't want to ever see Vance Garfield ever again. And so I thought I had been reasonable with her, but it took Art Johnson 3 minutes, and I almost timed it. He said basically the same thing I said to her, but she got it. And he walked on water with this lady. She gave me daggers all during the time he was talking. And afterwards, she was happy. And I was so impressed with how compassionate that man was. And it was a shock, along with Brett Howard's passing, when Art, I said, he's too young. He's too young. Our mayor, Art Johnson, served as mayor from 1994 to 1998. He was 6 years on the city council, and he served 1 term as our Kaysville mayor. So I present the Johnson campsite to Evelyn and her girls. Okay. Cole, let's go.
Why don't you have one more with the family? You're all here. We've got it right out here. We're not all here. There's a lot of you here. Come on up. Watch this menu. Slide over here to everyone.
Just email.
And Steve, thank you very much. In 1983, I was hired on as landscape gardener. And soon after that, they said, you're going to start attending the Park and Recreation Board meeting. And I go, I'm not park or recreation, I'm a landscape gardener. And so I went to the first meeting, and the first person, I always remember this, that came up and shook my hand and welcomed me was her, was Nika. And I have known her probably the longest of anybody in the city other than family. And Bruce Bittner was another one at that meeting, and he's my home teacher now, today, so it's great. Nika was the first person that taught me a new word, okay? And it had to do with automobiles. I had never heard the term minivan, okay? And she goes, I got a minivan. I go, what is that? And she took me out the parking lot and showed me a minivan, and I had to have one. Of course, I couldn't get a new one. I had to get a used one, but she prompted me to get a minivan. I had never heard that term ever before. And I've always appreciated Nika, and she's been a strong supporter of the Wilderness Park. So it's very appropriate to have her honored tonight here. She was 4 years on the Park and Recreation Board, 12 years on the Planning Commission, 6 years on the City Council, and served the term as our first female mayor. Bravo.
Mayor, can I just say thank Vance and Justin and the team over there that have done so much. I met with Vance and Cole and Chris this past week, and we were talking about this, and Vance obviously didn't want to do this, but I delegated it to him because he's so passionate about it, and he cares so much about our parks and about these individuals. So I just want to thank him for his dedication and all the hard work they've done to make this such a great facility for the city, and in recognizing these mayors. So Vance and Cole and Justin, thank you very much.
Thanks as well to the families of those who were recognized. We, as elected officials, know that your dedication and willingness to share your loved ones over the years is a great sacrifice, so we also appreciate all you have done in support of the city. And I'll echo what Brett said about the park. I had my first overnighter with my son's scout troop up at Wilderness Park earlier this year, and it was a great setting. And so we appreciate everything that's been done. So well done. Thank you all for being here. You're more than welcome to join us for the rest of our meeting, but we certainly understand if you don't want to. So you're also more than welcome to go too. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is call to the public. This is the time in our city council meeting when we open the microphone to any of you in attendance that would like to address the city council. Would like to address the City Council. There are no public hearings scheduled for this evening, so if you'd like to address the City Council regarding one of tonight's agenda items, this would be your opportunity to do so. You can also use this opportunity to address the City Council on any other thought, suggestion, or idea that you have. We do ask that you keep your time limited to 3 minutes, out of the respect for time. And with that, we'll introduce call to the public. All right, seeing no takers for call to the public. We'll move to our next item, which is Davis High School Community Council request for on-street parking. The requester for this agenda item has asked to be postponed, but has not given a date that they would like to be put on the agenda. So when we receive the request to discuss this again, we'll put it back on the agenda probably sometime in November or December, it sounds like. Next on our agenda then will be number 6, conveyance of real property at 368 North Main Street to Kaysville City Redevelopment Agency, consisting of 0.37 acre of vacant property. Mr. Thacker.
This third acre was acquired to provide for additional right-of-way at this intersection, as you see here. That intersection was improved and signalized. As everyone's aware, the signal is operating very well. The property is surplus now because the right-of-way that was needed was just this part here. Previously, the City Council has determined that the best way to use the property is to facilitate the redevelopment of this area here. So the council determined to sell it for private development, but do it through the redevelopment agency so the proceeds could be used for additional economic development in this area. As noted in your staff report, the proper notice has been given for this action, and all things are in order so that you can approve the resolution you have and convey the property to the redevelopment agency. Then the agency can further convey it at the appropriate time, which is not yet, but we can then, you can then proceed to do that as the board of the redevelopment agency.
Thank you for that report, Council. This has been discussed previously, pretty clear cut. Any discussion or questions?
Mayor, I move that we approve the resolution authorizing and directing conveyance of the real property at 368 North Main Street to the Kaysville City Redevelopment Agency by quitclaim deed.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Garlick and a second by Councilmember Stevens for approval as outlined. Any further discussion? Councilmember Snell, will you start a vote for us, please?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Next on our agenda is appointment of poll workers for the 2015 general election. Turn the time to Linda Ross, City Recorder.
You've received a list of suggested poll workers for the general election. The legal requirement is that they live in Davis County and not be related to a candidate, and I believe they all meet that criteria.
Thank you. Our city recorder does a good job at ensuring these candidates don't have a conflict. Have a list presented before you. If you all had an opportunity to review, if you have any questions, it's the time to ask. Otherwise, we'd welcome a motion for appointment of poll workers.
I'll make that motion that we appoint these poll workers.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Johnson and a second by Councilmember Garlick for appointment of poll workers as outlined. Any further discussion? Councilmember Lee, will you start a vote?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Next on our agenda is schedule of council meetings for November 2015. We had talked about council of not having a city council meeting on Tuesday, November 3rd for a couple of reasons. First, that we're using this room for a polling location, and we can't be here at least before, much before that time. And we thought it was probably a pretty good idea to get in the habit of not holding city council meeting on election nights.
Did we actually vote on it? I thought we had. We had not?
To postpone the meeting? I thought we did vote on it.
To cancel it.
Well, cancel.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the staff has some questions about timing for vote canvass and other business coming up. So John, I'll let you address what the questions were.
You're required to have one meeting a month. You've determined not to have a meeting on the 3rd. We do need to canvass the election after that meeting, no sooner than the 10th, which is 7 days after, no later than the 17th, which is 2 weeks after. So you could have one meeting on the 17th, hold a canvas meeting prior to the regular meeting, and then hold a regular meeting. The upside of that is you don't have to have as many meetings. The downside is that'll probably be a longer meeting because the business will accumulate for that evening.
Mayor, I'd like to also add that on the night of the 17th is also the night of the Evergreen event for Safe Harbor, which is a great facility here in our city, and I think it would be a good idea for us. It seems next year the meetings are moving to Thursdays. This won't be a conflict anymore. But I think it would be a good idea if we moved our regular council meeting in November from the 17th to the 10th so that those of us on the council who want to attend that event can do so.
So we would have one regular city council meeting on the 10th and also hold the canvas that evening. What is being suggested?
You could do that, yes.
And then no other meeting
And no
in
other
November.
meetings in November.
And I suppose if when we meet on the 10th, we could always reserve the possibility that if something was really needed on the 24th,
Yeah.
with 2 weeks' notice, hey,
It's
we've
only-
got something
it's
coming.
2 days
that-
before
yeah.
Thanksgiving, but yeah, if it's an emergency.
Is that a holiday?
It's close to one. I'm just saying, I don't know if it's going to impact people being out of
Thanksgiving
town or
Eve.
whatever.
Well, and the next regularly scheduled council meeting will be right on December 1st.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I-
Is that a motion then, Councilman?
I move that we change the regular council meeting on November 17th to the 10th and have that be the only council meeting in the month of November.
and have this.
And have the
canvassing.
election canvass that night as well.
I'll second that.
I just had a question, though. I noticed that the Planning Commission is meeting on the 12th. Is that going to delay their actions of anything they might come in or have? Would they want to move theirs to the 5th instead, or something like that?
Well, if we move to the 10th instead of the 17th, we have it on some weeks where the meeting that would have been on the 17th, we likely would have tried to do the agenda on the 11th. So we probably,
Okay,
unless we
we're okay there.
preempted it, which sometimes we do if we have something that we're trying to get done, but we try to leave that separation. So we have some months when we have 5 Tuesdays, or if there's 5 Thursdays, that sometimes those don't line up anyway. So
Yeah,
probably.
the last planning meeting in October is the 29th, so
They just
if
have
we
it.
move it, it's going to be a lot longer before we do.
What time
There'd be
will-
2 planning commissions before we have.
You
one.
are right, though.
So-
If we had something on the 12th, we wouldn't see it till the 1st, so we could talk about doing it on the 24th if there was something that.
But the 29th one, there would be 2 planning commissions before the 17th if we left it anyway without a city council meeting. So no matter which way you go, there's going to be some timing issues.
What about the night of the 10th? What time are we starting?
I think, how long is it going to take? 15 minutes, 5 minutes to canvass the election? So we could do it at 6:45, right?
6:45 on the 10th.
The regular city council meeting at 7. And then the Safe Harbor Evergreens event, I think most of us, with the exception of Chris, attended last year. Do all of you have interest in attending this year?
I would.
Yeah.
Did you get this? Yes?
No.
Here, I'll give it to you and you can have the city take it.
I would have interest. I don't know much about it because I didn't attend it last year, but
Okay.
I don't think they had it when I was on the council before. I don't recall the event.
I just don't think we were aware. I don't think the council was really aware. I think they were having it. Chief, you've been going for a long time. It's been going on for quite a few years, right?
It has been going on for many years.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
But I just think we were made aware. So it's a dinner and an auction, and so council members and their spouses go and then participate in the auction if they want.
Great.
Great event. Okay, well, we'll get numbers from how many of you would like to attend after the meeting. All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Garlick and a second by Councilmember Snell for the amendment of meetings for November city council meetings. Any further discussion? Councilmember Johnson, will you start a vote?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Next on our agenda is councilmember reports. Any reports?
Mayor, I just wanted to briefly mention, I get a lot of, as you know, when we're on the city council, and folks in the city will approach us with lots of questions about what they see on the ballot. A lot of questions have been coming my way about Prop 1 and, you know, the transportation funding measure, the sales tax increase. And I haven't seen a lot of information come out about it, and I happened to sit down with Dean Story earlier this week and got some good information that the league had put together. And just wanted to say publicly that I think, you know, I wish this information had been gotten out. I'm not making an argument that, you know, we've been amiss or remiss in getting that information out, but I think it was very useful information. I think as much as I may have reservations about some of that funding going towards the UTA and, you know, whatnot.
Just don't state your position in this meeting.
Right, sure, no. There are some significant benefits that it looks like they're projecting for even local communities. I was concerned that it would be a statewide tax increase that would basically go to benefit large cities around the state, but it looks like that's not necessarily the case. And I think that there's some promise there that in addition to the C road funds, there could be some benefit to that. And I think I just wanted to make sure that that was known and that there's some good information about that. And maybe we ought to put some of that information on our website just to indicate what is really Prop 1, what they're proposing.
Mayor, did the council approve a recommendation or something to the county asking them to put this on the ballot?
Yeah, the timing here and what we can do is a little bit tricky. The city council passed a resolution encouraging the county commission, who by the legislative action had the responsibility of putting it on the ballot. And the resolution from the city council was to encourage the county to essentially let voters decide.
Okay.
As far as rather where people are, we had a little more flexibility to talk about benefits and pros and cons prior to the action being taken that it be put on the ballot.
I see.
Once action was taken for it to be put on the ballot, anyone can on the city council or city staff can advocate for or against the proposition on your own time with your own email address. But once action was taken to put it on the ballot, cities can direct people to, like, the county site that has a narrative for and against, but have to be really careful about having.
Sure.
So the city, putting it on our website as far as information, the league's narrative, I think, is very compelling and very insightful, but lacks a counter argument.
For sure.
And so directly to that data that we had received, once it was authorized for the county to put it on the ballot, it kind of changed the rules from that day forward.
Sure. Okay. And I'm not here advocating a personal position one way or the other. I have heard from many people, and I didn't know really myself much about it. You know, you see the signs out there saying fix potholes and whatnot like that, and I just didn't know how it was, you know, the devil's always in the details on these things, and I didn't know how that was proposed to be allocated, the 0.25% tax increase, sales tax increase, and how that was going to work out. And it was very helpful to get that information, and so, you know.
And I think you're right, though. That, I mean, the how it would work if it passed is certainly available in those details.
Yes.
And very, I think it helps understand the what ifs or what would happen. But,
right.
But we have links to the county website as far as candidate information, and it has the official voter information that for and against, and there are also several websites that share information for and against. But once the county put it on, we've been careful as to what we've used city resources to publish.
Okay. Just wanted to get information in folks' hands. So.
Mayor, I just wanted to thank Parks and Rec again for the Monster Mash and Dash event. Thanks to those city council members who were able to come and help with the judging of costumes and scarecrows and all the things that we do. So it was a great event. The attendance was really, really good this year. There's a lot of fun. Just encourage residents to attend these events. There's a lot of volunteer work that goes into it and a lot of hours. And the kids just have a blast. And it's exactly why I live in Kaysville, is for those kinds of events. It's really, really fun. I enjoyed participating. So I'd just like to thank all the volunteers and the Parks and Rec staff for all the number of hours that they put in to put that on, and for those of you who were able to come and judge. And then also to remind you all that and I know the mayor's going to go through the calendar, but I just want a special reminder that on the 7th of November is the Veterans Day lunch. And we just want to make sure as many of you as possible can come and help. Number one, be on the stand during the program, and then help serve the veterans lunch as we do every year. So just encourage you to be there if you can, November 7th at 11 o'clock.
On that topic, just wanted to clarify, I asked you earlier, Mayor, not tonight, but separately, about who gets invited to that veterans event, and if the widows and widowers of deceased veterans are also invited to that. I've reached out to the Barollas, but have not heard. I don't know if anyone knows one way or the other on that. I'm getting some questions from people that I know who know widows and widowers, but I don't.
I think we would need to make sure they were aware so they were adequately prepared, but I can't imagine that we shouldn't extend that invitation to widows or widowers of veterans. And I think you and I had talked about that. I don't know if the best way to tell, and I think they kind of guess on what participation is going to be, and we have yet, knock on wood, to run out of food, but our number of veterans that are either able to attend or around to attend are declining, and so extending that invitation, I think, would be very appropriate and a great way to honor the veterans. If they were still here, I think they would say, make sure you invite my spouse after I'm gone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they would.
If you'd like me to, I can reach out to Vance and make sure that Parks and Rec are taking some responsibility to ensure that that occurs.
Okay. Yeah. Terrific. That'd be great.
Vance will track him down. Let him know. Okay, anything else for council member reports? Next on our agenda is approval of minutes. Have before you one set of minutes dated October 6, 2015. If you've had a chance to review it, welcome a motion for their approval.
I've reviewed those minutes and move that they be approved.
I'll second it.
I think a motion by Councilmember Johnson and a second by Councilmember Lee for approval of the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next on our agenda is approval of claims. You have one set of claims dated October 20th, 2015. You've all received a copy electronically and have a copy tonight. Claims in the amount of $1,915,748.02.
Mayor, I move that they're approved.
Second.
Make a motion by Councilmember Garlick and a second by Councilmember Stevens for approval of the claims. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next item is review of calendar. We've covered some of the items already. I'll make sure you mark your calendars for Saturday, October 31st, Halloween, in case you didn't have that. And sure hate for you to get caught off guard and not have your costume ready. John?
Yeah. Come trick-or-treating at your house, John.
We've talked about moving the city council meeting, and then also remind everyone of our Christmas lighting and electric light parade on Monday, November 30th.
Can I make a comment?
What?
Really? That's the night of the city. That's the night of the city council meeting.
No. No, but he can't just change it. It is the night of city council. That's not going to work. So I'll talk to him. Okay. Can I just make another comment about it though? I told you all before that we are going to have fireworks, and they are going to occur, but we weren't able to get a permit because of the flat houses and distance from buildings and stuff. We were going to try to do it at the elementary school. So what they're going to do is actually have a flatbed truck that's going to lead the parade. They're going to shoot the kind of fireworks that individuals can get, the largest kind that individuals can get now, starting at the high school and every once in a while until they get to 50 West over by Zion's Bank, and then from there all the way over, it's just going to be one big kind of finale all the way down the street. So it's going to be pretty fun. So I think I'm going to get with the mayor, and we're going to have to figure out when we actually kind of go 3, 2, 1, light the star and light the light. So I'll get with you and we'll figure out how we coordinate that, but it'll probably not be like we did in the past and do it here and then go over there, but we'll figure something out, okay?
Okay.
But I'll get with Vance and
tell
him the first is out.
On dates, I think it was actually kind of funny because we used to do it on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, but then that conflicted with the BYU-Utah game, so we moved it to the Monday after Thanksgiving, and then they quit playing each other every year. And so then it wasn't as, and now, didn't that move to like the Monday after Thanksgiving or something like that? I don't know. But the date that we have, we need to pick one and keep it. And so I would
think the Monday
strenuously
after
object to
is a good day.
any moving of the date. If, I think now people, we had a lot of people for the first couple of years that were like, I thought it was the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Well, now it's the Monday. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Monday, that sounds good. Well, now it's the Tuesday. Anyway, it'd be good to keep it if we can help it. Any other items for the calendar? Looking forward to December. Yeah. All right. Next item on our agenda is Councilman Stevens' favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Well, check out the time. I think that's important.
We could hang out for a little while before we make that a motion.
I suggest we don't hang out, except those who want to hang out, and for the rest of us, I move we adjourn.
Second. Thank you. A motion, Councilmember Stevens, second by Councilmember Garlick to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
That's got to be a record.